Okay, here's a little video I'm going to do on the 531. Obviously, it was made famous. Who developed it was Jim Wendler a number of years back, and I have learned to love it, and I have learned to make some adjustments to fit my needs to add a little bit more volume. But a lot of people ask what kind of routines I like to do and what kind of rep schemes and how to increase strength. I've always found it, let me get this camera straight. I've always found that this to be pretty successful as far as, the progressive overload of just adding a little bit more weight each time systematically rather than going in and just, going balls to the wall all the time. It's great for beginners. It's great for advanced people. It's not intimidating. And as you can tell, I'm a big fan. So the 531 principle I still stick with. I mean, to be honest with you, I probably have a half a dozen versions of this, but this is a simpler one. You apply it to every main lift. And as you see here, I've applied it to the squat, bench, deadlift, and a standing press. So the first goal is really to figure out enter your 1 rep max into it. But you see that top line, I put ideally you want to start with 10% in the actual 1 rep max. And I believe that was Wendler's guideline also. And sometimes I even like to go a little bit lower because the first few rounds of doing this, you don't want to burn yourself out. You want to actually build some momentum. So when you hit the weights that are challenging, you can just ride right through them. You want your body to get used to the heavier weights and not to be totally shocked when you hit it. So really momentum is a key. And for the times when the workouts do seem kind of easy when you're following this rep scheme, I did add something to it that will make sure you go into failure. So for example, we'll take the squat. If you can squat 300 pounds 1 time, you enter 270 for the first round. For the progress, round up and down, nearest 5 pounds, it's all easy. Then when I was talking about here, the all-out set is the last set. It's either the 4th or 5th or even the 6th working set, and that's when you want to do as many as you can do possible, and I'm going to go over that in a second. So like I said, here's my alternate version, round 1. Now, round 1 simply means here's the layout for the 4 main lifts, and not necessarily you're doing them in one workout, but doing them in your rotation. But again, let's just focus on the squat for 300 pounds is what we're trying to shoot for here. So you'll see the sets layout. We're all doing 5 reps, and the percentages are all laid out for you. Okay, set 1, 2, 3, and then I actually have 4, 5, and 6. Now, obviously, if you're not going to start off with your first set doing 225, you're going to still do a couple warm-up sets prior to that, okay? For example, if I'm doing this, I'll probably start off with the bar, 135, and then go into 2 1/4, and those are my prescribed sets according to this rep scheme that was laid out. So the first set is at 75%, as you see. Second, 80. And then optional. And then set 4 is 85%. And that's our start of our actual working sets. I threw this optional set 3 in here only because as you get stronger, let me see if I can do this. If you're focusing on the squat, okay, the gap gets to be pretty big, and the more weight you can lift, these percentage gaps are kind of big, and it's a big jump in weight. Right now, it really isn't. If you do 240, you can probably go right to 240, 255 and not feel much of a difference. But if you're going to do a squat of, say, let's get this up here, a 450, and that's your goal, or that's what you can do, then you'll see the jump is pretty big, and it will go to 360 to 382, or really 385 because you round that up. So therefore, I would recommend that optional set and do 370 or 375 so your body pretty much adjusts instead of doing that big jump of 25 pounds. So that's why I threw that in there as an optional set. That was an adjustment I made. So you do that, and then set 4 is really, when Wendler's version, your last set, and you were to do that for 5 reps, because we're doing, the first round, which is just all 5 reps. But I personally like to do more volume. Now, someone just starting out, I would say, yeah, you want to work up to that 4th set right here of 85%. What I do now, I do a set number 5 and then a set number 6. So I am doing 3 sets with that 85%. And to make sure I like to burn out, that set number 6, I will go all out, meaning that I'll do as many as I can. So typically, if you're feeling good and you started with light enough weight, you should be able to do more than 5 reps on that 3rd set with the 85%. Okay? So a quick review. You do your few warm-up sets before the 75% right here for the squat. Set number 2 is 80%. Optional, if you feel like you need something in between, set number 2 and 3. And then I'll do 3 sets at 85% and the last one going all out. Alright? And then it gets pretty simple. So that's round number 1. If I scroll down here, round number 2, the percentages are a little bit higher if you're just focusing on the squat, and we're doing reps of 3. So you'll see that. Okay? And again, that middle set for optional set number 3 makes a little bit of sense here, because you'll do 385 for 3 at 85%, 395, and then 405, and you'll do 405 for actually 3 times and try to do the most that you can. We scroll down for round number 3. Now this doesn't necessarily mean weeks, because if you're training, doing a 2-day split or a 3-day split, you're going to be squatting and these other main lifts multiple times a week, not just once a week. So round number 3 is really your test out already. Here's the 5-3-1. So you focus on the squat. You do your few warm-up sets leading up to 340, or it says 337.5, 75%, 85%. Here's 90%. And the goal would be to do 430 for a single. Now, if you're feeling really good, you can stick with that 430 and do 2 more singles, or you can add 5-10 pounds and try to push it. And round number 4 is the deload, and this is very important because it gives your body a break, the periodization of letting your body recover, and so on and so forth. Okay? Now, here's the part to figure out what to plug back in up here. So typically, you see the squat 450, and you completed it, and you did the 90, let's go back down. You did the 95%, you did the 430, okay? You completed that pretty easy. Then the goal is to plug a bigger number into here, and that could be either 455 or 460, and then you repeat. It's that simple. In his old program, he recommended to add 10 pounds, I believe. What I like to do, and I made it a little bit more confusing, say that you did 430 at the very end. Okay, right here, 430. You did it 3 times. So you did actually 2 more reps than what it was called for. So what I like to do, for every rep, I add 2.5 pounds. So if I was able to bang this out on the last set, on the 3rd time doing it, and I did it 3 times, I would add actually 5 pounds to the top of here and put 455 in. Because for every rep that was done beyond, I added 2.5 pounds. Now, if you did it 5 times, that was 4 reps more that was required. I would add 10 pounds. So then you would put 460, and it would just spit it out again and give you what needs to be done. I laid that out here. To determine the next round on how much you should add, take the last set, which is not always the 5th, and for each rep exceeding 1, you add 2.5 pounds. So for example, well, this is from the 300 pounds that I plugged in there. If you did it 4 more times, you would add 340. So this is really a nice little guideline, you know, to help you progress with the main lifts and to hold you accountable. Like I said, I have a few different versions of it. This is just one. There are others where I'll actually not do a 5-3-1, but I'll do a 3-2-1. And, you know, for higher reps, I have done an 8-6-4, but then I make the percentages a little bit lower because you're actually doing more reps, and so on and so forth. But I thought this was pretty neat to share because I've had questions on it, and just to give you an idea what I do. And it's worked. You know, when I stick with this for a few months, you know, I'll bring the numbers up. I like to rotate my main lifts only because I get bored of maybe doing front squats for 3 months in a row and then back squats for 3 months. So it's a good way to hold you accountable. All right, hopefully this has been helpful, guys. Thanks.